Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too. I'm half crazy,
all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I can't.
Hello, Cubanwriter here. Does anyone remember the TV show Lost? It was a interesting, engaging show with a mystery at its heart. And it drew people in, and it made them wonder, and it progressed, and then it ended. And it ended in a way that was not entirely satisfactory to the people who had invested so much time and effort into watching it. The ending of Lost had a bigger impact than just fans of the show. It created a trepidation amongst TV show watchers. If a TV show seemed particularly strange or challenging or had a premise that required a lot of investment, people started to become afraid of committing to it for the fear that it would end in a way that would invalidate all of their effort and time and investment. So I'd like to start a little series on my channel called Worth It. And I'd like to start it with a show called The Leftovers. The Leftovers first aired about 3 years ago on HBO, and it had a premise that's pretty familiar. A certain number of people on Earth vanish, and it seems to many that it's related to a religion, like the Left Behind series of Christian lore. But the show goes in a different direction than most of the Left Behind style shows that have preceded it, or the Left Behind style movies. The show isn't as interested with what happened as it is with how people deal with it. But because The Leftovers was so weird in the beginning and seemed to have a long spanning arc that would require a lot of investment, a lot of viewers were afraid to jump in. And some people saw the first couple of episodes and said, "Oh, this is weird. It might pay off, but it might not. And if it doesn't, I don't want to waste God knows how long watching this show only to be disappointed in the end with a Lost-style resolution or something worse." A lot of people felt the same way about The Sopranos and their black ending, or non-ending, as the case may be. Well, The Leftovers recently finished its final episode, and now I feel it's finally time to look at the series in its entirety and ask, was it worth it? Now, I don't want to go into too much spoiler detail, because really this is aimed at people who waited to see if the show was good, or whether it had a good resolution, before they decided to watch it. So, for many of you, you haven't seen it at all. For some of you, you've only seen the first episode. But I'll briefly go into the premise. In The Leftovers, at a certain day, at a certain time, a small percentage of humans just disappear. It's not like they were kidnapped or something. They all just vanish from wherever they were at that time. This supernatural, or seemingly supernatural event, puts the entire world into a kind of existential crisis. It's a story about love, about loss, about finding your purpose and place in the world, and about dealing with things that you can't comprehend and that you may never have an answer for. How does the human race deal with that? There's a lot of shows that I like which are about how the human race deals with something incredible or terrible. The Walking Dead is more interesting to me because of the human race having to deal with this terrible worldwide disaster than it is because of the zombies, although it's a lot of fun to see zombies get killed. The Leftovers is a lot like that. This show isn't about the thing that happened necessarily. It's about how people cope with it. Since we've all experienced loss or terrible things in our lives, however old you are, there's something in your life that you likely consider to be terrible. Since we all deal with these things, the show is very relatable from that perspective. The main thing I have to say about this show is that there isn't a bad actor in the entire cast. I don't even think the extras were bad actors. I think in 3 years since this show came out, there hasn't been one bad performance. The entire show revolves around a central character called Kevin Garvey Jr., a police chief in a town that's dealing with what happened. The character is played by Justin Theroux, but I always think of him as Discount Hugh Jackman. And that's really an unfair way to describe him because he's every bit as good an actor as Hugh Jackman is. I only call him the Discount Hugh Jackman because he looks a lot like Hugh Jackman and he's on television. Although he's the central character, there's no real unimportant characters on this show. Everyone contributes to the tapestry it builds. Some of them you grow to love. Some of them you grow to hate. And some of them you hate and then love, or love and then hate. The show isn't afraid to take you through the ringer along with these characters and make you see things from different points of view and different perspectives. The hero of episode 1 might be a villain by episode 5, and a hero again in a future season. Because the show has a central mystery, a lot of people are going to be concerned about whether this mystery is adequately resolved by the end of the series. And I have to caution you that while I found the final episode of the series to be emotionally satisfying, it really hadn't resolved everything there was to resolve about its central mystery. But really what I found is, over the course of the show made you feel that a complete resolution to its central mystery wasn't necessary. You do learn more about what happened. You do get exposed more to the supernatural realm, but firm answers and complete answers are few and far between. The answers you need to care about on this show if you're going to enjoy it are the answers about what will be the resolution in these characters' relationships. What will be the resolution in these characters' psyches? Will they be able to deal with what has happened? Will they be able to reconnect with each other? Will they be able to make a new life and move forward from something that is incomprehensible? On that basis, I highly recommend the show. Every episode is a work of art, beautifully written, and beautifully conveyed by top-notch actors. I've never seen an assembly of actors this good on a show before, and that includes a lot of my favorite shows of all time. So is it worth it? My answer, yes. Definitely check out The Leftovers, with the caveat that if you need everything explained, it's not the show for you. But if you're willing to let the show explain the things that are important within the context of the show's universe, the things that are really important, then I think you'll really enjoy it. That's my take on the matter. This is Cubanwriter, signing off.
But you'll look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer due. I'm half crazy, all for the love of